In this video, we're going to have a look at Dante Digital Audio and specifically the Dante Avio adapters by Audinate. We had a live stream gig that we were going to do, and it was going to be very, very challenging to have our wireless relatively close to the talent. What we decided to do was to place our audio bag and our mixer fairly close to the talent, and then run, initially we were going to run XLR cables back to our live streaming control center. And when we started to look at the distances that would have to travel, we got a little bit nervous about, one, we didn't have 600 feet of XLR cable. We would need two of them, and we weren't sure exactly if that was going to be a distance we could cover with XLR without having to put something in between to kind of boost the signal. Now, I had been looking at Dante Audio kind of enviously when sound devices came out with the 688 and the Scorpio, thinking that Dante would be a great option for adding sound to a location sound. But I don't have the wherewithal right now to get a 688. We're using a Zoom F8N, and it's been a great recorder. Perfect for actually what we're doing. It gives us a lot of flexibility and actually sounds really, really great. So one of the options we looked at was there a way that we could tap into the venue's network system to be able to send the audio from our bag, which was going to be located behind the stage because our talent would have body packs on and they would be facing the cameras, but the body packs would be facing the back of the stage. Was there a way we could locate the audio bag at the back of the stage and then fairly cost effectively, but more importantly, really high quality with no latency, run audio cable back to our switching station, which was at the other end of the theater, and we had two cameras positioned on risers at the back to photograph what was going on stage and send that via SDI to the live streaming unit. So I began to look into different options for audio, initially looking at things like AES, and we came across these Dante Avio adapters by Audinate, and they have a whole series of these adapters. This one is the 2-channel analog output adapter, and this is the 2-channel analog input adapter. These are fairly small, I guess you'd call them dongles, and they don't weigh a ton. They don't have a power supply. You must power these with power over Ethernet supplied by your switch or your router. So that was one thing to consider. But once you have that, it's a very simple matter of just connecting one of these to the source as the input and the other one to the destination, and then hooking these together with power over Ethernet powered Ethernet cable. So we tried it out, and we actually used the venue's network system. We originally thought we'd have to string our own network cable, but conveniently when we plugged it into their network, everything showed up and worked flawlessly. So we ended up using an 8-foot and a 12-foot cable to connect our audio mixer to our live stream recording system at about, I'd say 600, maybe 800 feet away. And again, inconveniently, there were a number of doors that we would have had to string XLR cable over and then down and then run it along and over and down. So this was just a huge, not only time saver in terms of having to wire all that, but just the robustness of the connection and cost savings that we didn't have to rent or go out and buy all of that cable that we would need. So I want to talk a little bit about the setup of this because it was really, really easy to do. As I said, there's two adapters here. One is the input adapter, which means it is the input to the network source. And all it requires doing is connecting your two channels to XLRs. So I'm connecting these to the TA5 to XLRs that I have connected to the Zoom. And then the output adapter, which you see here, I'm connecting to the two XLR inputs that I have in the connected to my live streaming system. I don't have it running right now because it makes a heck of a racket, but I am going to turn it on in a minute just to show you what that is. So Then all it is a matter of just taking, I have a little switch here that's got power over Ethernet, just connecting one end to one connector, and then power over Ethernet connector to the other. And in terms of physically connecting these two, that's pretty much all there is to do. You wait a couple of minutes, the lights will flash to show you that they're connected on both of these adapters. Right now I am using a Sennheiser MKH50 with a plug-on wireless transmitter to transmit audio to the bag here. And then from the bag, I have the TA5 outputs routed to the Dante input. And then over this little tiny network, certainly this isn't representative of the network we had at the venue, to the 2-channel output, then connected to my live stream unit. Once you have these physically connected, then it's just a matter of going into the Dante network control software, which I have running on this Macintosh, which is connected to the same network, and configuring which of the input channels you want to send to which of the output channels. And once you make that configuration, that's just about it. There isn't much else to do. It just works, and the latency is incredibly low. In fact, I think I was somewhere around the 1 millisecond, maybe a little bit slightly longer than that. So let's just turn on the beast. I call it the beast. Okay, now that we have the beast all fired up, what you can see is that we have from the SDI input here connected to the camera and to the back of the live stream unit. You can see our picture here on the screen. Audio though is actually coming in from the Avio output from the network into the XLRs, and that is going into our Behringer compressor limiter. You might be able to see the lights on the bottom there flashing. But I am also recording the audio right now to the SD card using the Blackmagic HyperDeck, and I will just I'm just going to repeat this little section back. This is HD quality, so you'll see a little bit of a difference in the picture quality, but I'm going to repeat this back so that you can hear the audio and you can see that it's in perfect sync and that we're getting audio from our bag over the network into the Behringer, from the Behringer to the ATEM, and then from the ATEM being recorded on the HyperDeck, all over Ethernet, which is so cool. So that was the audio and the video played back from the HyperDeck. As you can hear, it's very clean audio quality. A couple other things that I noticed about the Avio adapters is they're not just dumb adapters. You are able to actually change the gain slightly on the input and the output. For example, if you want to set a tone from your sound recorder and then adjust the levels so that you're getting the same level of input on your live stream unit, you can fine-tune that by adjusting the input and output gain on these adapters somewhat. So I hope you found that useful. This was a very quick, unscheduled video. I have to tear this whole set down. I have another shoot tomorrow, but I wanted to get this done and get this out to you so you can see these. I think these run $150 US. I think they're a little bit more expensive here in Canada, maybe $9 million here in Canada. But for 2 channels of Dante audio into an existing system, I'm quite happy with that price. There are other Dante audio devices available. Curtis Judd did an excellent review of one which is a 4-channel input plus I think the ability to do some headphone mixing. It has 2 XLR inputs and they're combination inputs, so you can input XLR and you can also input a 1/4-inch jack. And then it has 2 of those, and which supply also phantom power if you want to connect them directly to microphones, and a 3.5 millimeter stereo input jack for an additional 2 channels. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of that device. I will look it up. I will put the name of it in the description below, and I will also put a link to Curtis's very excellent review of that as well. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you found that useful. We're going to do a lot more of these videos, so please consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell to get notification when I post my next video. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.